If you haven't had a chance to play the Xenosaga mobile game Pied Piper, either legitimately or through the dumped translation that released a few weeks ago, don't worry, you're still in luck, because on Friday, YouTuber Cyclone Fox released a trailer of the remake, remaster, recreation thing of Xenosaga Pied Piper.
What was revealed in the trailer was far more than the original even offered. In addition to a faithful localization of the game, it also boasts 0 random encounters, a battle system similar to Xenosaga 3, EVS plates, segment doors, skill trees, and even a new soundtrack. The game is available for free on Cyclone Fox's itch page for download or playable right within the browser, so if you ever wanted to play Mary Magdalene and Jesus in a JRPG, well, happy Easter.
Welcome to Necro News, the show where we cover the hottest gaming news from the last week. This week we'll be covering Marvel Rivals' weird botting scandal, Eternal Darkness' patent expiration, Palworld's defense, and much more.
So if you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.
Marvel Rivals, the game that we keep saying we'll stream like 10 times before, but still haven't, is not beating either the Gunnar game allegations with their sudden announcement of the swimsuit event starting July 9th, nor the great allegations with their introductions of a new game currency dedicated to recoloring players' skins.
But that is not what we're focusing on today. No, it seems that Marvel Rivals is doing something a little weird. Redditor Maleficent Roll3450 was in a bot match and noticed that a friend of his that he hadn't seen online in quite some time was on his team as well, but was being oddly silent.
So what's the big deal? You'd think his friend was hacked or something, right? Nah. Instead, the game had to use his friends list to populate the name of a bot in the match. While this isn't unheard of, it is weird since nobody wants to play with bots if you could play with people instead, right? Also, could you imagine playing a single player practice round and a deceased friend suddenly shows up in front of you?
Of course, nothing has been confirmed by NetEase, but if they honestly feel the need to use people's names, they could at least have the decency to let the bots rank the players up, right? I don't know, I don't play these games. Well, what do you guys think? Do you care? Should I care? Should we actually play Marvel at some point? Let us know in the comments.
What's wrong with just using bot A and bot B?
I don't know. Look, I saw Papa Smurf in a bot match. I saw Loki's my bitch in a bot match. So, whatever.
Can we all agree Nintendo sucks now?
Yes, we can. You guys remember Gary Bowser? If not, the TLDR is a dude sold modded Switches, went to jail for 14 months, and owes Nintendo $14 million. Why are we dragging this up? Well, this is Fumihiro Otobe.
He was arrested in January for modifying and selling Switch consoles to run modded games. He even loaded up pirated games on the system before selling them. So, knowing how Nintendo is with pirated games, modded Switches, selling Switches, etc., you'd think he would get something like 5 years in prison and owe several $1 million in damages, right? Especially since Bowser only hacked the consoles to circumvent anti-piracy methods, whereas Otobe was directly selling hacked Switches with pirated software.
Nope, the Japanese courts only fined him $3,500 and gave him a 2-year sentence, which has been suspended for 5 years. Unfair? Yes. Seemingly racist? Maybe. But one thing we have to keep in mind is that this is 2 very different courts of law. Maybe the fact that Otobe admitted that he did something wrong helped him out? Was it enough to get a fine that was 400,000% less than what Bowser got? Probably not.
But in good Nintendo legal news, Pocket Pair's defense against the company was revealed on Game Fray last weekend, and the studio claims that the patents that Nintendo claims are infringed on should have never been granted in the first place, as there are multiple examples of other games using the mechanics long before Nintendo supposedly invented them.
Rune Factory 5, Titanfall 2, Pikmin 3 Deluxe are all examples of games that give players the ability to release a monster or a capture item, like a ball, and fire in a direction by releasing a button. Octopath Traveler, Monster Super League, Nexomon Craftopia, Pikmin 3, the Nukamon mod for Fallout, and Monster Hunter 4G are all examples of games that have capturing mechanics. Finally, the success rate HUD patent that people feel is the one that would hurt Pocket Pair the most. Yeah, Final Fantasy XIV did that in Endwalker. So, yeah, fuck Nintendo. Breaking news! This story is about a month old, but no one has talked about it, so I'm not really an MMO person. Ellie is more into MMOs than I am, shockingly, somehow. Okay, but you've played more. Nikki is technically an MMO.
It's not multiplayer.
Not yet.
Yes, but we don't know what the multiplayer mechanics are going to be like.
Okay, but you played more MapleStory than I have, so there you go.
A single MMO.
Yes. Anyway. Oh, well.
Wait, hold on. No, you play so much Final. You've played way more Final Fantasy 14 than I have.
Y'all ready for a Halloween jam?
Wait, hold on. No, you play so much Final. You play so much Final. You've played way more Final Fantasy 14 than I have. Or like me, play MapleStory put together probably.
Okay, but that's over the course of like 10 years, and I never even got past the fucking second DLC.
Anyway.
I enjoy the genre existing, especially dead abandoned ones that are somehow still alive. As is sort of the case with our next story for the MMO Defiance. It was a mixed media thing from back in 2013. I sort of recall the show, but basically it was a sci-fi TV show and an MMO where the show would impact the game and vice versa. Never happened that way, as these things go.
And then the show got cancelled in 2015, so the whole mixed media aspect of the game kind of just fell off. Somehow though, the MMO kept going strong, even receiving an updated version in 2018 for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 titled Defiance 2050. The game kept receiving support and server upkeep all the way up until 2021 when it was shut down.
However, Fox, an indie studio whose goal is to revive old beloved games, has acquired the rights to both the 2013 version of the game and the 2018 version, wanting to bring it all back online. According to Fox, after many heartfelt discussions on forums like Our Defiance and watching many enthusiastic YouTube reviews and comments, we realized the spirit of Defiance still burns bright.
They've announced that Defiance has already made its comeback, starting with the 2013 version of the game, and they want to grow the game with the community, with the end goal of returning the console version to life as well.
It's hard to say what will and won't be returning. I mean, the show probably won't come back, but it's cool that they're doing this kind of thing for the community of the game. If only they did that for other stuff. Like Terra. Oh look, it's more good news. Like really good news. Oh look, it has to do with patents. If you guys remember, on the GameCube, there was a game called Eternal Darkness, and it had a really rad insanity system. Basically, as you would play the game, you lose sanity, and as you did, weird stuff would happen, like your TV would turn off. The game would start to stutter. You thought you would go back to the GameCube menu, stuff like that, but Nintendo patented it.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
As they do.
However, the patent on the insanity system that Nintendo had filed in the 2000s has finally run out, meaning that all game developers can now make games using that system. It's not as if games haven't found workarounds, but now more freedom has been given to game developers to allow them to make even more cool stuff. It's been a pretty rare week with all the good news lately. Even Ubisoft decided to do something good for a change by deciding to open source their colorblind simulation tool, Chroma, to the public on the 14th, allowing the public at large to simulate the various forms of colorblindness.
While this tool will be interesting for non-colorblind people to mess with, it'll be super useful in the development of accessibility options for people with colorblindness conditions. It's a relatively small thing to report on, but its future implications, especially for gamers who can't see this image, is pretty significant. Also, it's just kind of cool to see Ubisoft looking forward for a change.
Scratch that, as Ubisoft has announced that they're making a new game which is effectively not Apex Legends, a game that came out over 6 years ago, a battle royale and what Ubisoft is setting its eyes on now. Come back in 3 years when we announce a new Ubisoft extraction shooter. This week's Bear the Light Banger, a segment where we cover a game our community doesn't think has had enough attention, is Fire Pro Wrestling World.
Fire Pro Wrestling World is the newest and best game in the Fire Pro Wrestling series. Released in 2017, the game is heavily customizable, from characters to moveset to even the UI or the ring. Look, you can get crazy. The game itself has a cult following due to its heavily realistic wrestling mechanics and the ability to create a wrestler's very own AI for use in CPU versus CPU battles. The game is fun. I would know. Don't worry about it. WrestleMania happened. Here are the games coming out this week: Korean Silent Hill and French JRPG, which I will be streaming. at least once.
And here's our schedule for this week. We'll be starting LA Noire tonight, so be there or be square. And then we'll also be continuing Elden Ring and starting Expedition 33 on Sunday.
And that's all we have for this week. Thank you for watching all the way through, and if you made it to the end, post a map for Expedition, I don't know.
And as always, a very special thank you to all of our channel members. We really couldn't ask for a better community. And if you want to show your support for Necro News, becoming a member will give you access to bonus content like bloopers, sneak peeks, and stuff like that.
But anyway, until next time, everyone, goodbye.
Goodbye.